Last 3 episodes of the seasons, y'all. Okay, hello, people. Welcome, folks. I'm Jaby Koay, joined by SABRAW. What up, brah? I've been holding out on saying that all day. We are continuing on with Love, Death, and Robots, the last 3 episodes of Volume 1, and the first of... Yes, I got that right. Sorry, there's so many numbers to consider. And funny enough, this one is called Lucky Number 13. That's what we're gonna kick this off with, and then Blind Spot, and then Zima Blue. Y'all, thanks so much for joining us. If you're watching this on YouTube, you will see a cut down version of our reaction because we're only allowed to show you a limited amount of picture-in-picture. But if you wanna watch the whole thing with us, uncut, uninterrupted, head over to our Patreon page, patreon.com/JabyKoay, or become a member of this channel so you can watch the whole show with us without any cuts or interruptions, but you will need your own Netflix subscription so you can open it up in an adjacent window to our reaction, and it's like you're watching it with 2 of your favorite pals from the internet. Now, if you're watching this on Patreon or memberships already, thanks so much for supporting us here. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, bell icon, all notifications, and vote this up to let YouTube know you're enjoying what you're watching. Here we go.
It's Top Gun.
Oh.
A ship surviving when all her crew dies is unusual. But twice? I never heard of such a thing before.
Well, maybe it's animation.
Then there was the matter of her serial number.
Oh, it's animation.
13-02313. The digits total 13.
Whoa.
She's all yours, Lieutenant. Rookies get the leftovers, you know how that is.
Aye, aye, sir.
Is that F. Murray Abraham?
Is that the actress from Handmaid's Tale and Orange is the New Black?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh.
But the guy who was just with her is from Moon Knight.
She looks like, yeah, the actress from those shows. I forget her name.
Our first op. The enemy attacked one of our terraform stations, so I'm hauling grunts planet side to check it out. They put me and 13 in front. If shooting starts, 9 times out of 10, it's the lead ship that doesn't come home.
But turns out to be the lucky one, right?
Marines fast movers incoming to cover. LZ is compromised. Search for immediate evac. What are you doing, 7-0?
Oh, that one's dead. Ah, come on, dude. Cowardice always gets you killed.
Yeah.
10 seconds to intercept.
Wait for me, God damn it!
Launching flares.
Wow. Oh boy.
One motherfucker.
Got one more, right? Out of one squirrely situation into another.
Got it.
Get him. Oh, that's sick.
Oh, what? Wow. Top Gun, baby.
Yeah. They just missed the bird.
I flew 19 more combat missions with Lucky 13.
Dang.
And all that time, not one casualty.
I have to admit, Lieutenant, you've done pretty good for yourself, even in this.
Thank you, sir. Do appreciate that, sir, but she's my bucket of bolts. She's always taking care of me.
It's got a life of its own.
Hey now.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Damn. Oh, wow. Machine saved her. Kept her locked until the missile hit. It's gonna wait.
I traded in a split second to fly one more mission in Lucky 13.
I don't think it was F. Murray Abraham. I think it was someone else. Nestor Serrano, who looks just like F. Murray Abraham. I was like, because halfway through the episode, I'm like, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's not who I thought it was. And I was gonna say that, but then I was like, either way, I look bad. So.
Nestor.
In any case, moving on. Basically, that was the Giving Tree, but with a spaceship. And I thought that was pretty cool. When she set the bomb to go off at the end, it said denial protocol activated, and I thought that was interesting. And so I suspected it wasn't going to blow up when she thought it would. It was going to wait till all the people were there to save them. And then Invariably, that's what happened. Yeah.
The ship didn't fly well for any of the other teams before, probably because they didn't have a respect for the machinery, which I think most pilots probably have a deep respect for what they're flying, but I could see how some couldn't. But I love how as soon as she got on, she's like, all right, you've been bad luck for everyone else, but let's set the stage.
Right.
Let's be friends.
Right. Yeah, it was interesting that how they managed to create a character out of an inanimate object because it never actually says anything. It's all just inferred. And I thought that was kind of neat to... Because you sort of, as a person, you anthropomorphize it a little bit and you put on human emotions.
Yeah.
You're not thinking beep, bop, beep, boop. You know, you're not thinking any of that stuff. You're thinking like from an emotional place. And I thought that was neat. Even though I knew all the beats that were coming, it almost got me emotional with that self-sacrifice moment at the end because it saved all of them.
Yeah.
And so to the very end, it's like, all I have is this stump. You can sit on it. You know?
Yeah. And they kept the plaque after.
Yeah. All right, blind spot.
Cute little cherry tape.
What are we stealing anyway?
It's a microchip, kid.
You want to know what that looks like? Your head's full of them.
Please, don't forget to look out for guards in the rear car.
They kind of remind me of the Book of Boba biker crew.
Oh, gotcha.
The mods.
Does it involve shoving my gun up your ass?
These ones look cooler, though.
They're like fully modified.
Give the high explosives to the lunatic and the new guy. What could go wrong?
Shut your grease trap. I got this.
I wish the Mohawk one had a Arnold Schwarzenegger voice.
Oh.
That does it!
Wait! Just blow the mic! You suicidal fuck!
Oh!
Well, that wasn't so...
Yeah. God.
Wait a second. I'm getting a new energy reading. Oh, shit. Fellas, I think Bob missed another detail about the defenses.
What do you mean, Callie? I don't...
Oh, no.
Looks like this is your stop, big guy.
Transformers.
Oh.
Callie, look out!
Come on, maneuver. Oh, no. No, she's definitely dead. The robot.
It's too heavily armored. You'll have to get inside and take out the defense CPU.
The two that were doubted are the ones that are surviving now.
What are you waiting for? Destroy this fucker's CPU!
Oh, no. What are you gonna do, buddy? Yeah, that's true. There's no reason for the CPU to be inside the head.
Mission accomplished, I guess. I've got the chip, but everyone else.
Oh, don't worry, kid. I cried my first time, too.
Sui? What?
They're all alive, right? Yeah.
Backup of our brains before each mission.
And Sui's brains? Well, they don't take too much space on the old hard drive.
I thought you were all dead.
Should have read your contract, kid. Now, come on, let's get out of here.
That voice, he's from Borderlands. He plays, I forgot the name of the robot. I have a toy of him too, but God damn it, what's the name of that? Oh, why can't I remember the toy's name? It's right there, the yellow one. Claptrap, that's right. Claptrap, that's Claptrap's voice. It's for sure it's gotta be Claptrap's voice because it sounds so goddamn alike. Anyway, that was neat. I can't believe I forgot Claptrap's name, because like Claptrap is like this goofy robot character who's very sarcastic, always making dark jokes in the game. Actually, Claptrap's character is what made me fall in love with Borderlands, the game, because he's just like, he's kind of obnoxious. But anyway, I really enjoyed this episode. It was, you know, Transformers, Fast and Furious, What else is there? A little bit of to some degree, a little bit of Mega Man, because there are these robots with like very human personalities. I guess is the easiest way to put it. I'm sure there's other influences here that I'm just not recognizing. American action films like Speed, because the robot got hit when he was on top of the cargo, and the guy goes, "Here's your stop," and the big one, he jumps off the back, and the big one gets clocked by the thing from the tunnel.
Oh yeah.
Which is how Dennis Hopper loses his head in Speed.
Oh.
So.
Yeah.
Something like that.
That was a fun one. I love a good cyborg tale. I loved how they looked. I like the style of animation too.
Yeah, it was fun.
It was a fun story. I'm glad that they're not all dead.
Well, I mean,
so many dark episodes, and it's good to have some light.
Right. I mean, that's the upside to being cyborg or cybernetic, is that you could just back up your brain. There's like a whole metaphysical thing that it kind of messes with my mind a little bit. Like my philosophy teacher told me a long time ago, like, okay, try to, you hypothesize a situation where, at the time I think George Bush was president or something, and he goes, so George Bush takes a teleporter to Mars, right? So it transfers his body, all of his DNA, over to Mars. And then George Bush ends up on Mars, but then George Bush gets a call from George Bush on Earth. And George Bush on Earth goes, hey, so there was a malfunction, and for whatever reason, I'm still here, and you're just a copy, so you can kill yourself. And it's just this hypothetical situation where, like, who's real? Who's the real George Bush in this particular scenario? And so when I see something like this where a deletion happens, but then there's a backup, it's like, but are you the same person? Because you don't have the experiences of the person that just got killed.
But you have a remembrance of the experience. Oh, yeah.
It's like, what is a soul exactly? What are the properties of a soul? What does it mean if you have a duplication? Like, does it share all the same? It puts me in a weird headspace.
Yeah.
Of
like body autonomy, the importance of it, the lack of importance of it.
Yeah.
Like, our bodies are just carriers of our souls. And so we put so much importance in our body. Like, our body's our temple, which we should.
Yeah.
Is it really anything that deep?
Yeah, because like there is talk about living forever inside of a machine where you transfer your consciousness into a machine, but is it transferring your consciousness, or is it just duplicating all the zeros and ones that make up you? Which is an absurd amount of data, by the way. It's an absurd amount of data, like 1,000 Empire State Buildings worth of hard drives.
Mm-hmm.
But is that you, or is it a copy? And if it's a copy, is it you? Because it's not you. It's like you got deleted. So it's just a copy that's living on. Is it the same? It's
Altered Carbon. Yeah.
I always call the show Stacks because I can't remember the name Altered Carbon until you said that.
Right?
Because they use the stacks.
I always forget the name.
Yeah.
Okay, but yeah, that was like my favorite part about the show, is the idea of transferring and storing consciousness and how that could ever be possible.
I'm sure that someday it will be possible, but how do you know that you're the original is always the question.
Yeah, you don't.
How do you know you're not having a sixth day situation where, did you ever see that? There's an Arnold Schwarzenegger film where he finds out he's the copy. That would be horrifying.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's not horrifying if you're the copy because you're alive, but then it sucks for the one who's the original. That,
Yeah.
That's not the point of this episode.
No. But that was like the characters in, we both watched this animated show on Amazon Prime, Invincible. Mm-hmm. Remember the clone guys who like, and he's like, you're not the original, I'm the original.
Yeah, that one. I don't think there was a philosophical angle to this one necessarily. It seemed like just an adventure. There's just a joyride. That's it.
Yeah.
And that was cool. But what was fascinating was the robots were the protagonists. The humans were the antagonists. We don't exactly know why. It was just a heist, it's a heist thing, and that's it.
And I guess maybe the choices you make when you have a copy of yourself and when you don't, like your life is a little less precious.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, there's no brevity anymore.
Yeah.
I'd heard Zima announce the unveiling of his final work of art.
Oh, that looks sick. It's like Carmen Sandiego.
Zima Blue. It was a precise thing. Little is known about Zima's history. It was said that he started his art career in portraiture. But for Zima, the human form was too small a subject. The search for deeper meaning caused him to look further, to the cosmos itself. That's how the mural work started.
Wow.
So cool.
The abstract shapes changed and became more dominant. but always the shade of blue was the same. It was Zima Blue. Before very long, Zima unveiled the first by many to be as far as Zima could take things. They couldn't have been more wrong. When most people speak about his blue period, they mean the era of the truly huge murals.
Wow.
But Zima was just getting started.
What?
It was a certain level of spectacle that made Zima truly famous, even to those with no interest in art.
I want you to help me tell my story. Shall we take a little walk?
Radical biological procedures that enabled him to tolerate extreme environments without the burden of a protective suit. He no longer breathed oxygen. His skin was replaced with pressurized polymer, and so he ventured forth to commune with the cosmos.
Oh, what?
But what Zima eventually realized is that the cosmos was already speaking its own truth, far, far better than he ever could.
My search for truth has led me here, to what will be my final piece. At last, I understand the thing I sought through my art.
And what does the swimming pool have to do with that?
It's not just any swimming pool. Long ago, it belonged to a talented young woman with a keen interest in practical robotics. But the young woman wasn't satisfied with the job it did. So she gave it a full color vision system and a brain large enough to process the visual data into a model of its surroundings. She gave it the ability to make its own decisions, to design different strategies for cleaning the pool. She continued to use the machine as a testbed for new hardware and software. And by stages, it became more aware. Eventually, the woman died. The little machine was passed from one owner to the... They added things, made modifications here and there. And with every iteration, it became more alive. Became more me.
The blue of the tiles.
Zima Blue, the manufacturer called it. The first thing I ever saw. This was where I began. A crude little machine with barely enough intelligence to steer itself.
The whole world was watching.
Yeah.
Is it just gonna be him cleaning the pool?
Is he dying?
It slowly shut down my higher brain functions. Unmaking myself. Leaving just enough to appreciate my surroundings.
Oh, what?
To extract some simple pleasure from the execution of a task well done.
Wow.
My search for truth is finished at last. I'm going home.
That was actually quite profound.
Very.
I like that one a lot.
Yeah.
You start, because I could go on.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I thought, first of all, visually stunning, but also I love the idea of this kind of like Benjamin Button type vibe and it speaks to like how we age in general. We are born with simple mindset and view of the world, and then we fight and grow and learn and do all these things to try to reach a higher power, all just to get back to that heart of a child type thing, like the simple things. And then when he's like, you'll never understand like the simple, just getting a simple task done right. It's like such a simple concept, but so deep. It's just the little things in life. That's all that matters. And we fight so hard and we do all of these things just to get back to square one.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's a very Buddhist sort of mentality, or a Japanese mentality, I should say, where it's like you just have this one task you do over and over again and get really good at that one task. But I think that part of why it speaks to me is just that notion of going back to a simpler time and appreciating that, because as you go on in life, things get more and more complicated, and then you long for the days when things were so simple, and you didn't know back then what you had. You didn't know how nice it was that you didn't have all the responsibilities and the complexities of being a grown-up with all that you have to deal with on a day-to-day basis, being in charge of whatever. Like, okay, a case in point is, you know, I get asked all the time, oh, what are you gonna do this year for your birthday? And I'm like, if I can sit on the couch and do absolutely nothing, that'd be a great birthday. Just do nothing. Like, I just chill out. It's like there's always this pressure that comes with your birthday, and it's like, for me, my life is just kind of banana town all the time. Every day, people are like, oh, what have you been up to? I'm the same thing, man. Crazy town. Every single day, I wake up. You asked me when you came over here, like, so how's your day been? I'm like, it's been nuts since I woke up. Every day's kind of like that, constantly on top of it. And I remember in the beginning of doing YouTube when it was simple, when I was just admiring people who had millions of subscribers and just like millions of views. I'm like, what must that be like? And then you get there and you're like, well, this is crazy how far we've come, and it's pretty cool, but the responsibilities are so much larger than you think, especially when you have people working with you, working for you, and the expectation of output and whatnot, and like, and keeping people entertained. Ideally, keeping people engaged, ideally, looking at numbers and stats on YouTube, and you're like, oh my gosh, there was a time when all you were craving was like the first 1,000 subscribers, and how cool would that be? You know, or the first 100,000 views, how cool is that gonna be? And then you're like well beyond that point, well beyond the scope of where you started, and you're like, wow, it was like kind of cool though, when you're starting out. And I always try to tell people that, like, when you're starting is the coolest place, because you can experiment and funk up, and no one can really judge you because you're just starting out.
Yeah.
When you get further along, like I remember listening to Will Smith talk for an awful film, but it was for Gemini Man. But listening to him talk before the slap, by the way, listening to him talk was cool because he goes, you know, I have to be so much more selective about my projects. I'm not young anymore. And there's this like legacy that is Will Smith, which he funked with a slap, but that's beside the point. He was like very conscious about the Will Smith legacy. So with each project he chose, he had to consider like, how is this going to be on my lasting legacy? Like, I can't make these just inconsiderate choices anymore like I could when I was younger. And there was a simpler time when you could just experiment, could just do whatever you wanted. And as you get older and have more responsibilities, maybe have kids, all of that changes. Especially as you get more into the spotlight, you're more famous. All of that changes. And like, you kind of long for that simpler time when it was just like, I could just chill. And you didn't know that you could do that. You know what I mean? Totally.
You have no idea until you know.
Yeah.
And then when you know, it's trying to find a way back to it.
Yeah. It's like when you're a kid, like the worst thing you got to deal with is homework or school or whatever, generally speaking. Like, it feels like so frustrating when you're a kid. Like, why? I can't wait to be a grown up, not have to deal with these stupid things anymore. It's like, no, but like, enjoy that, because that's actually the coolest time.
There's so many things about to happen.
Yeah. It's like the coolest time in your life, and you just don't know it. And you're going to look back and wish that you appreciated it more. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love my life. I think my life is dope. Because like, I have so much, I get to hang out with people like you. Like, I get to do what I do, and it's like, it's fucking awesome. Don't get me wrong. But like, there is a part of me at least once a day where I'm like, there was a simpler time.
Yeah,
You know?
definitely.
Yeah,
I feel that.
So anyway, yeah, that's why this was like, that was a nice one to end the season on. I thought that was quite profound. And no penises, and no boobs.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, I'm like, what? I don't get, this is like inconsistent with the rest of the show
in
so
an
far.
art episode, which is like often so filled with nudity.
That's true. That is true. I kind of laughed when he had the reveal of the big blue thing, because it was getting bigger and bigger until it was just that. And I laughed because there is art that's like that. That's just a single color.
And everyone's like,
yeah, it's like, did you even try?
Yeah.
You know? It has so much meaning. But
you don't get it.
Yeah, exactly. But in this particular instance, it definitely had meaning to him that people just couldn't possibly understand. And like, once they found out like who he really was inside, people couldn't deal with it. They just left. It was just appalled. What was this thing I was holding in such high regard all these years? But to think that he blossomed from being this thing that cleaned pools, that's nuts.
Yeah,
You know?
so random.
Yeah.
But cool. And I love how it tied into the first quote, I think, of the episode where she's like, I can't tell if it's closer to the color of the sky or the water.
Yeah.
The tiles.
They sort of dealt with that idea in one of the, I believe it was the first episode of this season. Sorry, we accidentally watched the first 3 episodes of season 3, so I'm a little bit confused. But I'm pretty sure it was in volume 1, episode 1, where they encountered what is, for all intents and purposes, an Xbox. And one of the robots is basically like Xbox 3000. And he was holding in his hand Xbox One or whatever. And to think that it started there and then eventually became the sentient machine with personality and all that stuff. There's a lot to extract from that. You could extract the simple basic notion of eventually these little basic vacuum cleaners will become these complex machines over time. Or you can extract from that how we used to be simpler creatures. At one point, we were just single-celled organisms floating around aimlessly, and now we are like this crazy form that we are now. It's weird. Anyway, cool food for thought. You guys, thanks so much for hanging out. Hopefully you enjoyed all that. Do subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the bell icon, all notifications, and vote this up. I'm Jaby Koay. This is
STEPH SABRAW.
Peace out.